What's up everyone, it's Mr. Fishy McFish here, and today we're going to be covering some of the best beginner tips for people playing Warzone. Now, a lot of you will probably know some of these tips, and you should really know them because they're all pretty simple, straightforward stuff, but it'll help you get a lot more wins and be a lot more consistent in your games if you follow these tips that I'm about to reveal. I'm going to go through 10 major tips, but I'm going to have some mini tips intertwined between, so look out for the little mini tips that I haven't listed in the description. If you do want to skip ahead to any of the big tips, feel free to check out the description. All the timestamps are below. So we're going to get right into the video. Basically, right now we're going to start with tip number 1. Don't forget, if you do enjoy this content, click on the subscribe button, give the fish a follow, and you'll get notified whenever there are new updates. So the first tip that I'm going to go through today is parachuting. So basically, a lot of people, when they parachute, they just jump out, they go straight down as fast as they can. What you want to do is, you want to use the left bumper, you want to look around, you want to see who's dropping with you, you want to listen for those other parachutes opening and look out for other teams. What we try and do as a team, me and people that I play with, is we try and keep the other team in our visual. We ping them, and a lot of people don't know how to use the pings, but basically you want to try and ping stuff so that everybody on the team knows exactly where they're heading to, and then you want to just keep an eye on them, keep monitoring them, keep listening out for if they're changing buildings. We split up as a team in this example that I'm showing right now, but usually you would want to stick together. We were only playing duos. And then just keep an eye on exactly where they are. Keep communicating with your partners, and if you keep communicating with them, once one of them jumps out of the building, he's on his own, I pushed him and then we ended up getting him. And in a minute we pushed the other one and we finished the team off. It's really about communicating, sticking together, and just being aware of what's going on around you. You should always also watch out for people that are parachuting in late as well, because that's always a good one. Tip number 2 is callouts. Now, with callouts, people always shout out, he's at the red building, he's at the black building, he's on the roof, he's doing this, he's doing that. It's better to be more specific, so you say, he's at the red building, he's heading left. He's at the red building, he's climbing on top of the roof. If you give those kind of instructions, it makes it much more clearer, and you're much likely to push at the correct time and actually get the kill. Tip number 3 is baiting. Now with baiting, I don't mean anything rude, so just get that out of your mind, but it's when a loadout drop box or a supply drop box comes down, rather than just running straight towards it, again, you wait. You can sit and wait, and you can wait for the other teams to go in and get their box, and then you can pick them off. And then when you pick them off, like we did here, it kind of gives you some easy kills. You've still got to have your wits about you, because while you're in a fight like this, you might end up getting third-partied, but stay tuned for a tip on that later in the video. But basically, you know, camp out the loadout box. Don't think that if, you know, only your loadout box drops, that it's only going to be you going for it, because a lot of people now do bait the loadout boxes, and then they'll come in and they'll get the easy kills while you're getting your class. So just be aware of that, and always, you know, approach loadout boxes with caution. You don't want to get killed while you're picking your class. The next tip that we got going is the PILA. Now the PILA is something that people really sleep on. It is so powerful. You can take out vehicles so easy. So I recommend that you have at least one person on the team running the PILA. If you're running quads, if you're running duos, you have to weigh it up in terms of your playing style. But for me personally, I like to rock it, especially against helicopters as well, because people usually jump out of the helicopters, and then what happens is you can shoot them out of the sky. And if you down them in the sky, they're going to die instantly. You don't have to go finish them off because the fall damage kills them. So I love running PILA. Personally, I think everybody should have one in their team. At least one PILA person. So the next tip that we're going to go for is sounds. Now, by sounds, we call it sound horn, and it used to be really popular in the old Call of Duty games. But recently, it's not been as popular. People don't have headsets because maybe they're free to play or whatever, but basically it's listening for the footsteps. Like I listened to the footsteps for that guy coming around the corner in the gulag. It's listening for things like chests opening. In this clip, I heard the guy open the chest downstairs, so even though he was crouch walking, I still knew he was down there. It's also a very good mini tip for you, is leave a chest downstairs that people cannot resist opening if you're camping upstairs. It's a good little trick to sneak up on someone and give them a surprise. But also listen for like glass smashing, things like that. Next tip is C4. Now C4, you have to be using it. If you're not using C4, what are you doing? Where have you been? C4 is the only throwable you should be using. It can take out vehicles, nearly every vehicle in one C4. It can take out helicopters, so you can throw a C4 up in the air and actually blow a helicopter up, which can be really funny because people don't usually expect that. They expect a rocket or they expect to be shot. You can use it to flush people out of buildings, which is what pros use it for generally. They can throw it through windows and things like that. always, you know, have your heartbeat sensor as your other equipment, and at least have one person in the team running a heartbeat sensor, because, you know, there's a lot of people that don't run Ghost, so you can get good free information off the heartbeat sensor for that. With C4, you do have to be careful, because obviously you can't throw it that far. You know, the field of view on PC makes it look as though some of the pros do throw it really far, but it doesn't throw that far. Trophy system is the counter to C4. So whenever you use a vehicle, always put a trophy system on if you can. If you do put a trophy system on, this is probably going to happen, and you're probably going to squash whoever threw the C4 at you, which was me in this case. The next tip is loadouts. Now this is a huge section. I could talk about a whole video on loadouts, and maybe I will do one later on. But basically, loadouts, you want to organize them, you want to have them so that they're optimized, so that when you hit a loadout and it's out in the middle and open like this, you can get the first one, which is the top one, which is your most used class. You can grab it and you can run, and you can get out of there safely and alive. The next part of this super huge tip is to name your classes. Now this may seem like a really obvious tip, but you would be surprised. Even myself, I'm pretty lazy, and sometimes I don't name my classes, and then what happens is I pick the wrong class in the middle of a game, which can be the difference between winning or losing. So here I've gone ahead, I've created my Growl class, and I've made it a fully loaded class. Now a lot of people, again, they don't have a fully loaded class. Now if you're asking to me, well, Mr. Fishy McFish, what is a fully loaded class? Fully loaded class is just, there's a perk slot on your weapon and you can equip it with fully loaded. If you equip it with fully loaded, it means that when you grab that loadout, you will have the maximum starting ammo for that gun. Now, why people don't have it as a class, I'm not too sure. It does, obviously you have to sacrifice one of your other attachment slots to get it, but it is worth having. Another great tip is if you run submachine guns, you don't have to have fully loaded in the submachine gun class. Now what you can do is you can have the fully loaded in the pistol, because they share the same ammunition. You're gonna have a fully loaded gun for your submachine gun without using the slot. It's an amazing tip, and it means that you could basically have a submachine gun class that has fully loaded in, which technically you're not actually using the perk slot for. Next big tip, not as big as the loadouts tip, but it's driving, and everybody sucks at driving. Now here in this clip, I'm using the left bumper to actually skid around corners to demonstrate this is some tight turning that you can do. A lot of people don't know that you can do this. You can use the left bumper, you can use the right bumper, and it can really get some good maneuvering whilst you are driving along. I think on PlayStation it would be the top shoulder buttons, Xbox right bumper, left bumper. You can also drive onto recons, which I wouldn't advise, you know, when you're playing the game properly, because your car's going to get blown up and you're going to die. Here you'll see I pick up the Mud Drauber. I actually have a video on that if you want to unlock that blueprint. I'll link it in the description below. It's my Bunker 11 quick fast guide. Get on that, get that blueprint unlocked, because that MP7 is amazing. The next part of this tip is, as you just saw, if you tap X as the car's driving past, you will just jump in. You've probably seen the professionals do it. They do it all the time when they're zipping about everywhere. You got to do it basically. You want to optimize your settings so that contextual tap is on. You just tap X, jump in the car when it's moving, you don't get run over because your teammates can't run you over, and you get away. Now, one of the big tips that a lot of people forget is third partying. Now, third partying is basically when you see other teams fighting it out, usually in the open, because if it's like someone that's in a high position, someone that's in an open position, then you probably wouldn't try and third party, because the people in the high position are going to take you out. But when it's in an open space like this, you can come in as the third party, you can mop up both teams. You want to be very careful with your timing. You don't want to try and third party too soon, because both teams might turn around and turn on you. You want to wait until one team is nearly dead, or the other team thinks that they've got the upper hand, or maybe both teams have been fighting really hard and they're a little bit low. Then you want to get in, you can mop up a load of kills like I did here, hopefully get some team wipes, and then you can keep on going, and hopefully you won't get third partied yourself, because that's what you really need to look out for. Is if you're third partying someone, somebody else could be behind you waiting to third party. So get in, get out, get the third partying done, get those kills. So now we're on to my bonus tip. If you watched all the way this far, hope you've enjoyed this video so far, but here we go. This is the big bonus tip, and basically it is to go check out JGOD. He's an amazing YouTuber, and there's a specific video that I've linked in the description, and it is a settings video. You can go in there, you can optimize your settings. A lot of people don't understand there's quite a lot of settings optimization that can be done in Modern Warfare and Warzone specifically. So check out his video. He'll help guide you through a lot of the different things. I didn't really want to touch on it just for like 10 seconds other than the contextual tap that I mentioned, so please go check out his video. I've got a lot more tips that I want to talk about in the future. I want to go into more detail on so many different topics because I feel there's a lot of advice that I can do. So make sure you subscribe with notifications on and you won't miss out when I do make those next tip videos. Really appreciate you for watching. If you haven't already, check me out on Twitch. It's Mr. Fishy McFish YT. I stream Monday to Friday, 9 AM till 5 PM Pacific. I'll usually be on within those times. Make sure you have notifications on and you'll find out when I'm streaming. For now, that's it, so stay frosty.